Did you know that some of the biggest R&B stars vanished from the industry overnight? One moment, they were topping the charts, then suddenly gone. From R. Kelly, whose downfall came after shocking legal troubles, to Tevin Campbell, who faded away despite his incredible voice, these R&B stars proved that success doesn't always guarantee a lasting career. Here are 20 R&B stars the industry banned, and you'll never see them again. Number 1. R. Kelly. R. Kelly was once considered the undisputed king of R&B, dominating the music industry for decades with hits like I Believe I Can Fly, Bump and Grind, and Ignition Remix. He sold millions of records, won multiple awards, and influenced an entire generation of artists. However, behind his success, dark allegations followed him for years. Rumors of inappropriate relationships and abuse surfaced as early as the 1990s, but his fame shielded him. He even went on trial in 2008 for child pornography charges, but was acquitted. For years, he continued making music, touring, and working with major artists. However, in 2019, everything changed. The release of the documentary Surviving R. Kelly exposed disturbing accusations from multiple women, leading to public outrage. The industry quickly distanced itself. Radio stations stopped playing his songs, record labels severed ties, and streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music quietly removed his music from playlists. Fans organized protests, demanding venues cancel his concerts. Soon after, he was arrested and charged with multiple counts of abuse, trafficking, and racketeering. By 2022, Kelly was convicted and sentenced to decades in prison. His career was wiped out, and his name became synonymous with scandal. While some of his music remains available online, it no longer holds the power it once did. His fall from grace is one of the most shocking in music history. Number 2. Tevin Campbell. Tevin Campbell was once one of the biggest rising stars in R&B. With his smooth vocals and boyish charm, he took the music world by storm in the early 1990s. Hits like Can We Talk and I'm Ready made him a household name, and many believed he was destined to be one of the greats. However, as the late 90s approached, the music industry began shifting. R&B was becoming more hip-hop influenced, and Campbell's style no longer fit the mainstream. Record labels started focusing on edgier, more urban sounds, leaving behind artists with a softer, more traditional R&B approach. At the same time, rumors about Campbell's personal life began circulating. In an industry that often pressured artists to maintain a certain image, speculation about his gender led to industry whispers that may have impacted his career opportunities. While he never publicly addressed the rumors early on, the stigma surrounding LGBTQ+ artists in that era could have contributed to his fading presence in the industry. In later years, Campbell spoke about feeling pushed aside, acknowledging that the industry had changed and that he struggled to adapt. Despite this, he remained respected in the R&B world, with many artists citing him as an influence. In 2022, he officially came out as gay, sharing that he had finally found peace after years of industry pressure. While his mainstream career never fully rebounded, Campbell remains a legend to those who appreciate true R&B vocals and talent. Next R&B star on our list. Number 3. Tinashe. Tinashe burst onto the music scene with undeniable talent, blending R&B, pop, and electronic sounds into a style uniquely her own. Her breakout single 2 On became a major hit in 2014, and she quickly gained a reputation as an artist to watch. However, behind the scenes, her relationship with RCA Records was far from smooth. As Tinashe's career progressed, she expressed frustration over the label's handling of her music. She wanted creative control, but RCA reportedly pushed her toward more mainstream, radio-friendly songs. This creative struggle led to long delays between projects and a lack of proper promotion. Her highly anticipated album Joyride was particularly affected, suffering multiple pushbacks before finally being released in 2018 with little industry support. By 2019, Tinashe had parted ways with RCA. While she framed the split as a positive move for her independence, It was clear that leaving a major label made it harder to stay in the spotlight. Without the backing of a powerhouse like RCA, she faced challenges in getting the same level of exposure, airplay, and playlist placements. Despite these obstacles, Tinashe continued to release music independently, proving her dedication to her artistry. Her later projects, like Songs for You and 333, received critical acclaim, though mainstream success remained elusive. While she may no longer dominate the charts, she has built a loyal fan base and remains a respected figure in the R&B and alternative music scenes. Number 4. Cassie Ventura. Cassie Ventura started R&B in 2006 with her hit Single Me and You, a sultry, minimalist track that dominated the charts. The song, produced by Ryan Leslie, made her an overnight sensation and secured her a deal with Bad Boy Records, owned by Sean Diddy Combs. However, despite her promising start, Cassie's music career never fully took off. Many believe her relationship with Diddy played a major role in this. While she remained under his label for years, her music releases became infrequent, and her sophomore album never saw the light of day. Some fans speculated that her industry connections, rather than helping her, actually held her back. Diddy was known for keeping a tight grip on his artists, and many wondered if Cassie was being sidelined intentionally. Throughout the years, Cassie released a handful of singles and collaborations, but none achieved the same level of success as Me and You. Despite her undeniable talent, she was often seen more in the role of Diddy's girlfriend rather than as a serious artist. After their split in 2018, Cassie moved on with her life, focusing on modeling, acting, and personal ventures. By the time she gained full creative freedom, the music industry had already shifted. Though she remains a respected name in R&B, Cassie's career is often viewed as one of the biggest what-ifs in the industry. Up next was once known for his hits like Knock You Down and Pretty Girl Rock. No other person but. Number 5. Carrie Hilson. Carrie Hilson was once a rising star in the R&B world, known for hits like Knock You Down and Pretty Girl Rock. However, her music career seemingly vanished overnight, and many believe industry politics played a huge role in her downfall. One of the biggest rumors surrounding Hilson's disappearance is her alleged feud with Beyoncé. In 2009, a remix of her song Turnin' Me On featured lyrics that many interpreted as a dig at Beyoncé and Ciara. The line, "She can sing, but she need to move it to the left," was believed to reference Beyoncé's hit Irreplaceable, sparking rumors of tension between the two. Hilson never directly confirmed the diss, but the speculation alone seemed to put her at odds with Beyoncé's massive fan base and possibly powerful figures in the music industry. Things worsened when Hilson reportedly refused to hold a Juice magazine issue featuring Beyoncé. That moment went viral, and backlash against her intensified. Soon after, her music career stalled. Despite her talent and songwriting success, she stopped releasing albums after No Boys Allowed. Hilson later admitted in interviews that industry politics played a role in her stepping away, though she denied that Beyoncé personally blocked her career. Regardless, many fans believe the controversy made her a target for blacklisting, pushing her out of the spotlight. While she has hinted at a musical comeback, her absence from mainstream R&B remains one of the most talked about industry mysteries. Number 6. Adina Howard. Adina Howard burst onto the R&B scene in the mid-1990s with her hit single, Freak Like Me. Her confident image and raw lyrics set her apart, making her a rising star. However, behind the scenes, industry politics and personal conflicts led to her sudden disappearance from mainstream music. Howard was signed to Elektra Records, and after her debut album, Do You Wanna Ride, became a success, she was expected to continue her momentum. However, her outspoken personality reportedly led to clashes with executives. The breaking point came when she got into a dispute with the label head Sylvia Rhone. Some sources claim Howard criticized Rhone's handling of her career, which allegedly resulted in her sophomore album, Welcome to Fantasy Island, being shelved indefinitely. At the time, the music industry was still hesitant about women openly expressing their gender. While male artists could be provocative without consequence, female artists like Howard faced backlash. The combination of industry politics and her refusal to conform led to her being quietly pushed out of the spotlight. Number 7. Deborah Cox. Deborah Cox was once a rising star in R&B, known for her powerful vocals and emotional ballads. She first gained attention in the mid-1990s, signing with Arista Records under Clive Davis. Her 1998 hit, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, became a massive success, spending 14 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard R&B chart, a record at the time. The song made her a household name, and she followed up with other hits like We Can't Be Friends and Sentimental. However, as the music industry shifted in the early 2000s, Cox found herself struggling to maintain mainstream success. R&B began leaning heavily into hip-hop influences, favoring club beats over traditional vocal-driven ballads. Labels prioritized artists who fit this new trend, leaving powerhouse vocalists like Cox with fewer opportunities. Despite her undeniable talent, radio stations played her songs less frequently, and major labels didn't push her music the same way they once did. By the mid-2000s, Cox transitioned to Broadway, starring in Aida, and later playing Whitney Houston's role in the Bodyguard musical. She also found success in the dance music scene, where her voice was still celebrated. Though the mainstream R&B world moved on, Deborah Cox's legacy remains strong. She continues to tour, record music, and inspire new generations of singers with her unmatched vocal ability. Next star on our list was well known for her 2002 hit, No Other Person But number 8, Tweet. Tweet, the smooth-voiced R&B singer best known for her 2002 hit, Oops, Oh My, seemed destined for long-term success. Her debut album, Southern Hummingbird, showcased her sultry vocals and unique style, earning her a loyal fan base. However, despite her early success, Tweet's career took a sudden downturn, largely due to industry politics and personal struggles. After Southern Hummingbird, she attempted a follow-up with It's Me Again in 2005. While the album had strong tracks, including collaborations with Missy Elliott, it failed to match the success of her debut. Behind the scenes, Tweet faced label issues that stalled her momentum. The music industry was shifting, and her label, Elektra Records, merged with Atlantic, leaving many artists, including her, without proper promotion. Frustrated with the industry, Tweet took a step back, struggling with depression and financial issues. She eventually moved away from the spotlight, focusing on her faith and personal growth. For years, fans wondered if she would ever return to music. Tweet made a comeback in 2016 with Charlene, a deeply personal album named after her real name, Charlene Keys. While critically praised, the project didn't receive mainstream support, making it difficult for her to reclaim her former status. Despite her undeniable talent, industry politics and long absences kept her from reaching her full potential. Number 9. Ashanti. Ashanti was once one of the biggest names in R&B, dominating the early 2000s with hit songs like Foolish, Rock With You, and Happy. She was the first female artist to achieve a #1 debut album on the Billboard 200, selling over 500,000 copies in its first week. However, her career took a serious hit after the downfall of her record label, Murder Inc. And Murder Inc., led by Irv Gotti, was at the center of a federal investigation in the mid-2000s. The label faced accusations of money laundering due to alleged ties with Powder Kingpin Kenneth Supreme McGriff. While Gotti and his team were ultimately acquitted, the legal battles damaged the label's reputation. Many industry insiders began distancing themselves from Murder Inc., which affected Ashanti's career as well. At the same time, the music industry was shifting. R&B was evolving, and newer artists like Beyoncé and Rihanna were dominating the charts. With Murder Inc.'s influence fading, Ashanti struggled to maintain the same level of success. Her later albums, including The Declaration, didn't receive the same major label push or radio airplay. Although she continued releasing music independently, Ashanti never fully reclaimed her early 2000s dominance. However, she remains a respected figure in R&B, and has since focused on acting, business ventures, and nostalgic performances celebrating her legacy. Some of these artists, you see, were officially banned, while others fell victim to industry politics, changing trends, or scandals. Let's dive deeper. So the next R&B star on our list is number 10, Jaheim. Jaheim was once a rising star in R&B, known for his deep, soulful voice and emotional lyrics. His 2002 hit, Put That Woman First, became an anthem for appreciating and respecting women, earning him a loyal fan base. Throughout the early 2000s, Jaheim released multiple successful albums, such as Ghetto Love and Still Ghetto, which showcased his raw talent and heartfelt storytelling. However, as the years went on, Jaheim's presence in the music industry started to fade. Part of this decline was due to legal troubles that overshadowed his career. In 2021, he was arrested and charged with animal cruelty after authorities found over a dozen dogs in poor condition at his New Jersey home. This incident shocked fans and further damaged his reputation. Beyond legal issues, Jaheim also displayed erratic behavior that raised concern. His social media activity became unpredictable, with rants that often confused and worried his followers. Some believed he was struggling with personal issues, while others speculated that the music industry had turned its back on him. Despite his talent, Jaheim never fully recovered his position in R&B. He continued to release music independently, but without the support of a major label, his work received little attention. While some fans still celebrate his contributions to the genre, his legal troubles and unpredictable behavior made it difficult for him to maintain his once promising career. Number 11, Lloyd. Lloyd was once considered one of R&B's brightest rising stars. With his smooth vocals and signature braids, he gained attention in the mid-2000s with hits like You featuring Lil Wayne and Get It Shawty. His blend of soulful melodies and hip-hop-infused beats made him stand out in a competitive industry. However, despite his promising start, Lloyd's career began to stall due to label issues. He was originally signed to Irv Gotti's Murder Inc. Records, but after the label faced legal troubles and lost its stronghold in the industry, Lloyd sought a new home for his music. In 2009, he signed with Zone 4 Interscope, hoping to regain momentum, though he released his album King of Hearts in 2011, which featured Dedication to My Ex, Miss That. It failed to reach the commercial success of his previous work. Behind the scenes, Lloyd struggled with inconsistent label support, which led to delays and missed opportunities. He later revealed that industry politics and creative differences left him feeling frustrated. After parting ways with major labels, he took a step back from music to focus on personal growth. Though he eventually made a return with independent projects, the mainstream industry had already moved on, favoring new sounds and artists. While Lloyd remains respected among R&B fans, his career never quite reached the superstar status many once predicted for him. Next up was known for her hit after rumors surfaced that she dissed Beyoncé in a remix. No other person but number 12, Carrie Hilson. Carrie Hilson was known for her smooth vocals and songwriting skills. Before stepping into the spotlight as a singer, she wrote hits for major artists like Britney Spears, Ciara, and Usher. When she launched her solo career, her 2009 album, In a Perfect World, produced hits like Knock You Down and Turnin' Me On, making her one of the most promising voices in R&B. However, her career took a major hit after rumors surfaced that she dissed Beyoncé in a remix of Turnin' Me On. The lyrics seemed to call out an unnamed female artist who needed to sit down and had been overrated for years. Many fans interpreted this as a jab at Beyoncé, and the Bayhive, Beyoncé's loyal fan base, did not take it lightly. The backlash was swift and brutal. Though Hilson denied any intentional shade, her reputation in the industry took a serious blow. She faced relentless online attacks, industry figures distanced themselves, and her career momentum slowed. Her 2010 follow-up album, No Boys Allowed, underperformed, and after that, she largely disappeared from music. For years, Hilson remained silent about her struggles, but in later interviews, she admitted that industry pressure and personal issues played a role in her retreat. Though she has hinted at making a comeback, she has yet to regain her former success. Whether it was truly the Beyoncé controversy or deeper industry politics, Carrie Hilson's career never recovered from the fallout. Number 13. Jay Holiday. Jay Holiday burst onto the R&B scene in the mid-2000s with his breakout hit, Bed. The sultry slow jam, released in 2007, quickly climbed the charts, reaching number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the R&B chart. His debut album, Back of My Lack, also performed well, earning him a Grammy nomination and solidifying him as a rising star. With his smooth vocals and romantic ballads, many believed Jay Holiday was poised to become the next big name in R&B. However, despite his early success, his career soon stalled. His second album, Round 2, failed to match the impact of his debut, and tensions between Jay Holiday and his record label, Capitol Records, began to surface. He later accused the industry of prioritizing certain artists over raw talent, suggesting that major labels were more interested in marketability than musical ability. As R&B began to shift toward a more hip-hop influenced sound, Jay Holiday struggled to adapt. His third album, Guilty Conscience, was released independently but failed to gain traction. He attempted a comeback with Time in 2022, but by then, the industry had largely moved on. While he occasionally makes headlines for outspoken comments about today's R&B scene, Jay Holiday never regained the momentum he had with Bed. Despite his undeniable talent, industry politics and changing musical trends left him behind. Up next was known for his hits I Don't Wanna Know, which reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 14. Mario Winans. Mario Winans was once a major name in R&B, best known for his 2004 hit, I Don't Wanna Know. The song, which sampled Enya's Boadicea and featured P. Diddy, became a massive success, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. The track's emotional lyrics and smooth production made it one of the biggest R&B songs of the early 2000s. Before his solo success, Winans was already a respected figure in the industry. Coming from a legendary gospel family, the Winans, he had music in his blood. He worked behind the scenes as a producer and songwriter for top artists like Mary J. Blige, Destiny's Child, and the Notorious B.I.G. His talent earned him a spot at Diddy's Bad Boy Records, where he released his second album, Hurt No More. Despite his breakthrough, Mario Winans never managed to follow up with another major hit. A combination of industry politics and the slow decline of Bad Boy Records hurt his career. As the label lost influence, many of its artists struggled to stay relevant, including Winans. His personal life also faced turmoil. In 2022, he was arrested for failing to pay over $400,000 in child support, adding legal trouble to his struggles. Over the years, he continued working in music, but mostly behind the scenes. Unlike some R&B artists who transitioned to independence, Winans faded from the mainstream spotlight. Today, his name is mostly tied to I Don't Wanna Know, a song that remains a nostalgic classic. While he still has talent, his industry presence has never recovered. Number 15. Jon B. Jon B. was one of the few white artists who made a name for himself in the R&B world during the 1990s. With his smooth vocals and soulful delivery, he quickly gained respect in a genre dominated by black artists. His debut album, Bonafide, featured the hit single Someone to Love, a duet with Babyface that helped establish him as a serious R&B contender. His follow-up album, Cool Relax, solidified his success with hits like They Don't Know and Are You Still Down, featuring Tupac Shakur. Despite his talent and early success, Jon B's career started to decline in the early 2000s as the music industry shifted. R&B was evolving, with a heavier focus on hip-hop influenced sounds and younger, emerging artists. Labels were prioritizing a new generation of performers, making it harder for him to stay relevant. Additionally, Jon B faced challenges with his record label, which limited his ability to promote his music effectively. As mainstream R&B moved toward a more digital and auto-tuned sound, Jon B's classic smooth style became less commercially viable. Though he continued making music independently, he struggled to gain the same level of exposure he once had. Despite his lower profile, he remains a respected figure in R&B, with a dedicated fan base that still appreciates his timeless hits. Up next on our list of R&B star is Carl Thomas. Number 16. Carl Thomas. Carl Thomas was once one of the most promising voices in R&B, known for his smooth delivery and heartfelt lyrics. He rose to fame in the late 1990s after signing with Bad Boy Records, the label founded by Sean Diddy Combs. His debut album, Emotional, was a massive success, featuring hit singles like I Wish and Summer Rain. His blend of soulful melodies and deep storytelling quickly made him a fan favorite, earning him a solid place in the R&B scene. However, despite his initial success, Carl Thomas's career took a downward turn as Bad Boy Records began to decline. The label, once a dominant force in hip-hop and R&B, struggled after the early 2000s due to internal conflicts, shifting music trends, and the loss of key artists. Without strong label support, Thomas found it harder to maintain his mainstream presence. Personal tragedy also played a role in his career slowdown. In 2004, his brother was tragically killed in a drive-by shooting. The loss deeply affected Thomas, leading him to take a break from music to grieve and regroup. During this time, the R&B landscape changed dramatically, with newer artists and different sounds taking over the charts. Although he released a second album, Let's Talk About It, it failed to match the success of his debut. By the time he dropped So Much Better, his presence in the industry had significantly diminished. The decline of Bad Boy Records meant less promotion, and without the strong push he had early in his career, his music didn't reach the same level of commercial success. Despite his struggles, Carl Thomas has continued making music, occasionally releasing new projects and performing for his loyal fan base. While he may not be at the top of the R&B world like he once was, his contributions to the genre remain respected. His smooth vocals and classic hits still resonate with fans, proving that his talent never faded. Only his industry backing did. Number 17. Genuine. Genuine was one of the biggest names in R&B during the late 1990s and early 2000s. With his smooth vocals, charismatic stage presence, and undeniable charm, he quickly became a star. His debut album, Genuine, The Bachelor, introduced the world to Pony, a Timbaland-produced track that became an instant classic. The song's infectious beat and seductive lyrics made it a staple at clubs and parties for years to come. Throughout the late 90s and early 20s, Genuine continued to dominate the R&B charts. Hits like Differences, So Anxious, and In Those Jeans solidified his status as one of the most talented artists of his era. His collaborations with Timbaland created a signature futuristic sound that set him apart from other R&B singers. He also formed friendships with fellow artists like Aaliyah, Missy Elliott, and Static Major, helping shape the sound of R&B at the time. However, as the 2000s progressed, the music industry began to shift. R&B started blending more with hip-hop and electronic sounds, and auto-tune heavy production became the norm. Meanwhile, Genuine's style remained rooted in classic, soulful R&B, making it harder for him to compete with the newer wave of artists. His career also took a hit due to changes in the music business. With record labels restructuring and streaming platforms changing how people consume music, Genuine struggled to adapt. Though he continued releasing albums like Back to the Basics and A Man's Thoughts, they didn't achieve the same level of commercial success as his earlier work. Despite the decline in mainstream popularity, Genuine never stopped performing. He became a sought-after act for nostalgia-driven tours, often joining fellow R&B legends like Tank and Tyrese for TGT, their short-lived supergroup. He also participated in reality TV, appearing on Celebrity Big Brother UK in 2018, which introduced him to a new audience. While his music may not top the charts anymore, Genuine remains a respected figure in R&B. His legacy is undeniable, and his influence can still be heard in today's artists who aim to bring back the classic 90s R&B sound. Up next on the list was well known in the late 90s and 20s. Number 18. Donald Jones. Donald Jones was one of the most promising R&B artists of the late 1990s and early 2000s. With his smooth vocals, heartfelt lyrics, and signature laid-back style, he created timeless hits that still resonate with fans today. Songs like Where I Wanna Be, You Know What's Up, and Knocks Me Off My Feet solidified his place in R&B history. Jones's breakthrough came in 1999 with his second album, Where I Wanna Be, which went platinum and featured some of his biggest tracks. His ability to blend traditional R&B with hip-hop influences made him a standout artist. He continued his success with Life Goes On, which included hits like You Know That I Love You. However, despite his talent and strong fan base, his presence in the mainstream music industry gradually faded. One of the biggest reasons for his decline was his decision to step away from the spotlight. Unlike many artists who actively chase commercial success, Jones prioritized his personal life and creative freedom over industry expectations. He took long breaks between albums, making it difficult to maintain momentum in a fast-changing music landscape. Additionally, the shift in the R&B genre played a role in his disappearance from the mainstream. As the 2000s progressed, R&B started blending more with electronic and pop influences, moving away from the classic, soul-driven sound that Jones specialized in. The industry's preference for younger, trendier artists made it even harder for him to reclaim his earlier success. Number 19. Amerie. Amerie was once one of R&B's biggest stars. With her 2005 hit One Thing, she delivered a fresh, energetic sound that stood out from the era's typical slow jams. The track, built on a funky go-go beat, dominated the charts and even landed on major film soundtracks. Her album Touch was a success, and it seemed like Amerie was on track for a long, successful career. However, behind the scenes, label issues began to stall her momentum. Amerie had been signed to Columbia Records, but after creative differences and a lack of promotional support, she left the label. She then moved to Def Jam, hoping for a fresh start, but her career continued to struggle. Her music was often delayed, poorly marketed, or overshadowed by other artists on the roster. Her 2007 album Because I Love It was critically praised, but failed commercially in the U.S. due to limited distribution. By the time she released In Love and War in 2009, the industry had shifted, and Amerie struggled to regain mainstream attention. Despite her talent, label politics and industry changes made it difficult for her to thrive. She eventually stepped away from music, focusing on writing and other creative ventures. Though she still releases independent music occasionally, the mainstream success she once had never returned. Amerie remains a respected figure in R&B, but her career serves as an example of how industry politics can derail even the most promising artists. The last R&B star on our list was once a Grammy Award winner in 2003. Number 20. Mya. Mya was once a dominant force in R&B, rising to fame in the late 1990s with hits like It's All About Me, Case of the X, and My Love Is Like. Whoa! Her smooth vocals, dynamic dance moves, and ability to blend R&B with pop made her a standout star. She also collaborated with industry giants like Christina Aguilera, Pink, Lil' Kim, and Missy Elliott on Lady Marmalade, which became a global smash. However, despite her success, Mya's mainstream career took a sharp decline due to conflicts with her record label. She was originally signed to Interscope, but after years of delays and creative differences, she parted ways with the label in the mid-2000s. In 2007, she attempted a comeback with Liberation, but the album was shelved in the U.S. due to distribution issues, further pushing her away from the mainstream spotlight. Rather than rely on major labels, Mya took control of her career and transitioned into the independent scene. She began releasing music under her own label, Planet 9, allowing her full creative freedom. While she no longer dominated the charts, she gained a dedicated fan base and continued dropping albums like Smooth Jones and The Knockout. Despite her industry struggles, Mia remained active, performing, acting, and even winning a Grammy in 2003. Though she's not as visible as before, her career shift allowed her to maintain longevity on her own terms. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.